Hello, I'm Lindsey Elliott and welcome back if you've already watched one of my videos, or welcome here if it's your first time. So if you saw last week's video, we looked at why the voice in your head, so the inner critic, the running commentary that you live with, sounds so convincing. And today I want to follow on from that and talk about how you can actually stop believing it. And I want to be really clear about what I do and don't mean by that. So I don't mean how to make the voice stop. I don't mean silencing it, and I don't mean arguing back with it or reframing it into something kinder. The voice isn't going to go anywhere. Your mind is going to keep doing what it does. So what I'm talking about here is something different. I'm talking about the moment when the voice can be seen running, but you're not buying what it's selling. So when it's still saying all the same things, but it loses its grip on you, when it looks much less convincing, that's what we're going to look at today. So most women who come to work with me have tried a lot of things to deal with this voice already. Therapy, journaling, affirmations, mindset work, trying to be kinder to themselves, maybe talking back to the inner critic, or picturing it as a small childlike version of yourself that just needs love, or giving it a name. So some of that can help for a while, but most of it doesn't stick or lead to lasting change. And the reason it doesn't stick is the same reason. All of the approaches accept the basic premise that the voice is saying something real, and it's your job to either neutralize it or replace it or manage it. So you end up in a relationship with this voice where it's the loud one and you're the one trying to handle it. And the thing is, if you spend any time at all doing that, you've probably noticed it's exhausting, because the voice doesn't get tired. It can talk all day long. It's like you're trying to outrun a machine that's purpose-built to keep generating. So I want to offer you a different way of approaching it and looking at it. So to stop believing the voice, the thing that actually has to shift isn't the voice itself. It isn't you, it's your understanding of where the voice is coming from in the first place. So let me explain what I mean by that. So most of us treat the voice as if it's some kind of inner narrator that knows things, who has access to some kind of truth about us, or who's reporting on our character. But that isn't what the voice is. The voice is your mind doing what all minds do, which is generating thought constantly about everything and without your permission. So your mind generates thought the way that your heart pumps blood. It doesn't ask you, it doesn't check in with you, it just does it. And a huge amount of what it generates is judgment and narrative and meaning making, because that is what minds are built to do. So when you hear the voice saying you handled that badly, what's actually happening is your mind has generated a thought, and that thought is taking the form of a sentence, and the sentence sounds like it's coming from a place of knowing, but it isn't. It's just thought simply showing up. So it has no more inherent truth than any other thought that your mind will have produced today, and your mind will have produced thousands today, every single day. Some about like what to make for dinner, some about whether you remembered to hang the washing out, some about what you wish you'd said to your mum on the phone last week. So you don't believe every thought you have about dinner. You don't think this thought about dinner is the truth about who I am as a person. You'd think that was ridiculous. But when the thought is about you and your life and how you're doing, suddenly we do treat it as if it's the truth, because it sounds personal and it sounds like it's a verdict that we have to believe. But it isn't. It's just a thought. It's the same kind of thought that your mind is producing all day long. So to make this more concrete, because I find it's the kind of thing that can sound a bit abstract until we actually see it in action. So the other day I was making a cup of tea and a thought popped into my head that said, I didn't reply to that friend last week, or I haven't been a good friend to her lately. Now, me, pre-knowing what I know now, that thought would have sent me down a rabbit hole. When was the last time I actually checked in properly with her? Or she's probably noticed. She probably thinks I don't care, I'm always saying I'll make more effort and then I don't. Oh, I'm not a very good friend, am I? No wonder people, find it hard to keep in touch with me. And off it would have gone. I would have probably lost an afternoon to that in the past, and probably fired off some kind of like over-explaining, slightly apologetic message that really wasn't about my friend at all, but it was about me getting rid of a bad feeling. But now I know what I know. What happened instead was the thought came up and I noticed it. I noticed it was a thought. I noticed it sounded really sure of itself. And I noticed there was no actual evidence for what it was saying. So there was just a thought saying a thing, but the volume was turned up really high. It got my attention. And the fact that I hadn't replied yet, that was true, 100%. But everything that the mind built on top of that was made up. And once you see that, then thought just loses its weight. It can still be there, doesn't need to disappear, but it just becomes a sentence floating through, like all other sentences in my mind that floated through that morning. So I did reply to my friend later on in the day, and not because I felt guilty, just because I remembered and I had space to do it, and I wanted to. So that's really the whole thing in a nutshell. That's what I mean by not believing the voice. It isn't that you successfully have to argue it down. It's that you see it for what it actually is. And the moment you see what it actually is, it just doesn't have the same hold over you anymore. So I want to be honest about something as well, though. So you can hear me say all of this. You can watch this video and you can understand it intellectually, and you can nod along in the moment and think, yep, that voice in my head, it's just a thought. I get that. I understand it. But I almost can guarantee to you in 20 minutes, you will be back inside that, listening to that voice in your head, believing every word that it says. Because an intellectual understanding of this is not the same as seeing it. So there's a moment when you see it and you really see it for what it is, and that's when something can genuinely shift for you. That's what happened for me. And that moment is different from understanding the concept. But it has to happen repeatedly in real life, in a new way, for that to settle in, for it to actually change things for you, because you've been listening to this voice for so long that not listening to it can also take some time. And that's why this isn't something that you really learn from a book or a video, although a video can point you to that. It really has to be something that you see in your own experience over and over, until eventually the voice stops being a problem. The voice is still going to talk, but you just are not its audience in the same way. So I just want to step back for a minute, because I think it's worth being clear about what's actually at stake here. So if you have been listening to this voice, as I had, for 30 or 40 years, it isn't just an annoyance. It has been shaping your decisions. The job you didn't apply for, or the conversation you didn't have, or the relationship you stayed in for too long or left too soon because the voice was talking about it, or the version of you that's been showing up as much quieter, smaller, filtered, more managed version than who you actually are. That's actually the cost of this voice. It's not the voice itself, but it's what that voice steers you away from. That's what we lose when we listen to it. And when you stop believing it, what you get back isn't just peace and quiet. You get your own clarity back, your own wisdom, your own capacity to hear yourself. Because when that voice has been loud for so long, that quieter signal underneath, what you actually want, what you actually feel, what you actually think, can be hard to hear. And when the voice loses its grip, that other signal becomes clear again. And that's the bit that changes your life, not the voice. It's hearing that inner signal. So just to bring this together, we don't stop believing the voice in the head by fighting it or silencing it or seeing it as being kinder. You stop believing it by seeing in real time that it's a thought generated by a mind. That's it. It isn't the truth. It isn't a report on you. It isn't a verdict. It's just thought showing up. So the next time that the voice gets going, which probably won't be long, see if you can do one small thing. Don't try to change what it's saying. Don't try to argue with it. just notice it. Just notice that there's a voice running. Notice the words it's using. Notice the certainty with which it's speaking. And then ask yourself, who is this voice? Because if you can hear it, you're not it. And that's where the understanding that can actually change your life begins. So I'm going to leave this video here for today, and I really hope that this has been helpful, because this is genuinely one of the most life-changing things that I have seen. And watching my clients see this for themselves is one of the favourite parts of my work. And when we live with believing the voice in the head, there is just way more suffering in life than there needs to be. And that's what I really want to help people get out from under. So in June of 2026, I'm going to be running a new masterclass series where I'm going to show you exactly how to see all of this really clearly and consistently, so that the voice in your head genuinely can stop running your life. So if that's something you're interested in, sign up to my mailing list so that you'll be the first to hear about it. I'll be sharing details about that soon. But for now, if this video was useful, please do consider subscribing to my channel. Please give the video a like. It really helps me to get this content out there. And if you know a friend who also does a lot of doing her own head in by listening to the voice, then maybe think about sharing it with her today. So thanks again for your attention, for listening to this and watching it. It really honestly means so much to me, and I will see you for another video soon. Bye.